For me, this was always going to be what I was going to do. I had told my mother at 12 that I was going to move to Atlanta. I was going to be this full-time authoress, and I was going to just tell stories. I never wanted to be anything other than that. And I've been writing stories since I was maybe 8, 9 years old. And for me, it was just in me. Like, people know how to naturally sing, they know how to naturally dance or paint and draw. I knew how to tell stories.
Hi everybody, so my name is Sherry Simmons, and today I am going to show you, teach you, educate you on how to tell your own story, your way, and how to write your own memoir. So we're going to jump right into it. What you are looking at on the screen is a workbook that I created called Tell Your Own Story workbook, which is available for purchase in digital and later on print edition, but right now it's in digital form. So, what is a memoir? A lot of times people don't understand what a memoir is. They confuse what a memoir is with an autobiography. So, we're going to talk about that. So, a memoir is a true story that actually happens to the author. So, a lot of new authors are creating genres such as creative nonfiction or just creating a whole bunch of things that just doesn't make sense or isn't correct. So when you're writing a memoir, it has to be a true story that actually happened to you. It has to be a story that makes readers feel some type of emotion, because what is the point of you writing the book if you're not trying to get people to feel something, whether they feel mad, sad, glad, happy, upset. Readers need to feel some type of emotion when they're reading a book. And the memoir should be a story about an event that is important to you, because again, why are you writing the story if the event or whatever you're writing about is not important to you? So what a memoir is not
On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 lords are leaping,
11 drummers drumming,
10 ladies dancing.
the problem. You don't have a choice.
One thing I didn't do was
It don't matter. The fact that you gotta start the sentence with the only thing I didn't do. Does he not get that? The only thing I didn't do. That's the point.
Yeah.
Get out, man.
Yeah, I mean, I argued because she never give me credit for what
I didn't.
Okay.
What is? How my journey with being a parent evolved, I would have never even guessed that. I would have never said that was going to happen a day in my life where I would not enjoy being married, where I would not enjoy being a mother.
We're at my crib, just chilling. We're gonna let y'all see this what at Christmas.
You know, we tried real hard to do this just right, but no, they wouldn't let us. They just wouldn't let us. We wanted this to be perfect, but you know. Hey. Delphi. Delphi.
Make a face at Delphi.
And how to write your own memoir. So we're going to jump right into it. What you are looking at on the screen is a workbook that I created called Tell Your Own Story Workbook, which is available for purchase in digital and later. We're going to talk about that. So a memoir is a true story that actually happens to the author. So a lot of new authors are creating genres such as creative nonfiction or just creating a whole bunch of things that just doesn't make sense or isn't correct. So when you're writing a memoir, it has to be a true story that actually happened to you. It has to be a story that makes readers feel some type of emotion, because what is the point of you writing the book if you're not trying to get people to feel something, whether they feel mad, sad, glad, happy, upset. Readers need to feel some type of emotion when they're reading a book. And the memoir should be a story about an event that is important to you, because again, why are you writing the story if the event or whatever you're writing about is not important to you? So what a memoir is not, it is not an autobiography. So again, autobiographies go from birth to where you are at now. So like Malcolm X did an autobiography of Malcolm X. That is an autobiography that started from his birth to wherever the story ended at. It's also a story where it's not a story where you tell how you feel. So you're not telling how you feel, because you're supposed to be writing in the perspective of the time that you wrote the book. It's not a made-up story, so I'm not making up stuff. If you really truly want to write a memoir, you need to be as honest, authentic, and transparent as possible in your memoir, because why? Readers can tell when you're not being authentic, and if things just don't make sense, they're not going to believe your story. And we want people to believe our story because it's our stories to tell. And again, memoirs do not cover your whole life, and they do not have to be written in chronological order. So you can jump around, play around with your memoir as long as you're sticking to the topics that you chose, the subject matters that you chose. So that is what a memoir is not. So I have a little space in here where you can be clear about what you're writing about, so you can sit down and write your notes. What is your intention about this writing this memoir? What is your purpose in writing your story or telling a story? So this can be both for speaking engagements, or verbally writing a book. So what goes in your memoir? So when we're writing a memoir, we don't want to have too many characters, 2 to 4 people that are relevant to the experience. You want to have some places, you want to have your experience, you want to have your feelings and thoughts of the moment in this experience. So you're writing from the point in the moment, right? And then you want to talk about long-term effects of the experience. So when we're talking about people, here's a space. All these bubbles represent spaces where you can write in people's names that you feel are relevant to your experience and your situations in your life, right? Here's a space for you to write about your experiences. Here's a space for you to write down your places. Here's a space for you to write down your feelings and thoughts in the moment of the experience. So again, you're writing about how you felt in the moment, not how you feel about it right now, because you had time to process or not the things that happened to you at the time. We don't want that information just yet, because that is part of the story, but it's not part of this story. Then we want to talk about long-term effects of the experience. A lot of time people just like to talk about what happened to them in the situation, in the experience, but what happened to you after. So people want to, and they need to hear about what happened to you after. People tend to look at people's lives and seek some type of hope. So you can potentially be giving people the hope that they need by telling them exactly what was the long-term effect of your experience or your situation that you went through. Why do people read memoirs? Besides the fact that people are nosy, as I know, they want to overcome their own troubles and obstacles as well. So sometimes people read memoirs because they want to see how someone survived a traumatic event, how someone went through something that they resonate with, right? People tend to feel better knowing that they are not the only ones who went through something. That is true. No one is ever the only person who ever went through something. But when you're going through something, people honestly don't believe that someone else went through it, which is not the case. So how do you put your ideas together? You need to put your ideas in one place. Do not have all your writing scrambled all over the place and have all your notebooks thrown all over the place. How do I know this? Because I published my memoir 3 years ago, and it took me a long time because everything was all over the place, and I had to learn, all that stuff needs to be put together because who child. So you also need to put the ideas about what is the transformation or lessons that you've learned from your experience. You have to include your lessons in your transformation because, of course, once you go through a situation, you do transform and you do grow and you do learn a lesson, right? Maybe some people don't get it indirectly, but we do grow. We cannot be the same person that we was when we experienced some type of trauma. It happened, and you cannot go back to the person you were before the trauma happened. So some of us process the information and we move on and we grow and we learn from it. Others of us do not for whatever reason, but if you had some type of transformation or pivotal moment or learned a lesson from the experience, you need to include that in your story. And the last part is you need to write the first draft. Writing the first draft is the hardest part. This is the heaviest part of the process because you have to, depending on how traumatic your story is, you have to literally sit there and recall every interaction, every encounter. And sometimes we bury things so far in the back of our brains where we're like, well, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to think about that. And then we have to think about that and we have to go back to that. So sometimes it's a lot of re-traumatizing of ourselves again. So this requires a lot of research and writing, especially if you are including people that have passed away or people that you are not in contact with anymore, and they are a pivotal part of the story. So you need to do some research on these people if you don't know already. So these are important in your memoir. We need to have themes in our memoirs. It needs to have one overall theme, and then you can have multiple sub themes. So my memoir has a theme of traumatic events. So you're going to see a lot of trauma occurring in my memoir. If you read it, my memoir's title is "You Know My Name, Not My Story," which is the perfect name for it because a lot of people, they know my name. It is Shuri, Shri, not any other way, but Shri. A lot of people know my name and they just feel that because they know my name, they know me, and that is just not the case. So sub-themes can include depression, suicide, and heartbreak, and I do talk about those are my sub-themes in my memoir. So here's some examples of themes that you can utilize. Feel free to use them. There's a theme of resilience, perseverance, patience, overcoming, self-realization, and tragedy. So you must transform in your story, and we talked about that a little bit in the beginning of the conversation. You are the main character. So in any movie, any book, the main character always has to evolve, transform, or grow in some way, shape, or form. You need to take action. You need to grow and change in your story. No matter what you experience, the key is to show transformation as a result of going through the experience. So people can transform for the better or the worse. You don't always transform for the better. There are people that have been in such traumatic situations that were good people that they just turn into people who started doing things that they did not want to do because of the situation that they faced. And you may have already transformed. So if you transformed already, like I transformed already when I decided to sit down and write my book, you have to show how you came from that situation to who you are now. Message for your readers. You have to leave a message for your readers, right? I love to leave hidden messages for my readers. They seem to get it and find it. But like I tried to hide it from them, seem to find it. So okay. You need to leave a message for your readers. So a lot of writers leave like lessons I learned in the book. I'm ghostwriting a book for someone and she's doing lessons I learned at the end of each chapter. You need to leave something for your readers. What do you want your readers to take away from your story? So you can do that after each chapter. You can do that after the whole book at the end. I love to leave notes from the authors or a letter from the author in some of my books. So you can do that too. Feel free by all means. And here is a space for you to do some more writing. And then that is the rest of the workbook has some tips and a lot of things that you guys can utilize as authors in general. But that is the end of this workshop. So again, I encourage people to tell their own story because you are the perfect person to tell your story, but you need to know how to tell your story. A memoir is a nonfiction book, so there you are the main character. It is written in first person. It needs to be authentic. It needs to be very transparent, very honest. If you read some memoirs, Kerry Washington has a memoir out. Viola Davis, oh my God, her memoir is so amazing. Michelle Obama, so many celebrities have memoirs written, and if you read their backstories, and this is the thing about it, we all have a backstory. So once people read your backstory, they can get to know you a little bit better than what they know now. And when I read people's memoirs, especially Viola Davis's memoir, I'm just like, woo, I have a newfound respect for someone who went through such traumatic situations. Because if it was me, baby, I don't know if I would have made it. So, guys, thank you for joining in to this workshop. I hope that you learned something today, and I wish you good luck on your writing journey. Thank you. Bye.